sometimes we get stuck playing the same way all the time, yet we want to have more options to how we approach our soloing. And I used to think that if I understood music enough, I could express myself musically any way I wanted. But in the end, what has helped me more than anything is just doubling down on what I already know, what I'm already good at, and making small changes can go a long way. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a major pentatonic scale going diagonally across the fretboard, and we're going to play it in 3 different ways and make small tweaks to get a different style or a different kind of flavor, if you will. And let's see how that works out. We're going to start with country and we're going to expand from there. So for these examples, we're going to do it all over the same track, but yeah, we're going to try these different sounds over it so you can see how you don't have to always match the vibe of the song exactly. We can kind of put your own creative twist to it. And we don't have to even do it these 3 ways. I'm just trying to give these as examples to inspire you to start thinking outside the box. So what we're doing is in B flat. And it's really just 2 chords. It's B flat, E flat. You know, the acoustic guitar is actually just playing G and C, the capo on the 3rd fret. But for us, it's going to sound like it's B flat, which I know is a little tricky if you're not used to that. But it's really just thinking about the scale starting the 6th fret. So not a big deal, right? So the scale is going up here like this. And that is the area, you know, we're going to play around with for all of this. So the first one is that kind of countryish sound. And while there's many little elements of country we could have added into and I could go over, we're going to just focus on 2 simple things for each of these. And that is adding some bends. So like adding bends in a certain way. So bending right here. You know, doing it maybe at the same time. These 2 notes. And maybe bending down here. Oh, I'm gonna make sure you get the pitch there a little off. And that, of course, adds a country flair. And if you're not used to that and you like the country kind of stuff, like there you go. Just try working on your bends. And you can see here, working on more myself too. You can always get better at this stuff. The other thing is adding bends, but a small tweak. And that's where you get that real twang. So taking different notes and just, you know, kind of experiment on yourself and find these different spots. But really, it could be at any of those notes and just bending ever so slightly. So maybe big bends. And then there you go. It gives you that country sound. So we're shaping the shape of this scale, and that's how we get that sound. So let's look at more of a jazz approach now as a counterpoint and see what's going on with that. So the first thing we can do to get a little bit more of a kind of jazz sound is to add some notes between it. And you may be thinking, wait, you just said we're going to only do this one scale. So this is the one disclaimer. We just add these notes, but we don't have to think about it as a different scale or anything. It's just some notes just kind of added in there, some little extra stuff kind of in between. And that is, you know, you could do it between any of them, but the good spots would be doing between the 2nd and 3rd notes right here, and then the next 2. So right there, and then if you do it further up here too, oops, you know, that right away gives you more of a jazz flavor, but you could get overwhelmed with that, but just focus again on that scale you already have down there, that you know that the major pentatonic. And if you don't know it already, you know, there's a good opportunity to start working on it, get to know it more familiar. And the other thing is just to add on some pull-offs and hammer-ons. So hammering on like this, pulling off, and slides. And that makes it all what they call more legato, smooth playing. And there you go. It gives you, it's not like, you know, you're a world-class jazz player by doing this, but if you're not used to this, it's something you can easily do, and it gives you a little bit more of that jazz sound. Now, the one big thing, before we get to the last one, I should say, between all of these, the biggest difference that I'm not really going over really is rhythm. It's like the most, you know, not talked about aspect of music. And it's one reason is it's a tricky thing to kind of narrow down. But just, you know, don't worry about it, but notice that. Just change up your timing and your rhythm. And when you listen to country music or listen to, say, jazz, you know, listen to the difference of the rhythm. That's going to be the number one thing that is different between, if you're talking about, you know, stylistic playing and stuff. So, with that said, though, let's get to the third one. This is just not really a style, but more of just called atmospheric playing. So taking it a little out there. Let's give it a listen and see what we're doing. So I want to highlight that we don't need any special guitars. You don't need a jazz guitar to play jazz or a country for country, things like that. You don't need any fancy effects, but it can help a little bit, you know, and I was just tweaking for the first one. I was playing the country one on a bridge pickup, giving me a little bit more of that sound, a little thinner sound, which kind of fits that kind of vibe more. And on the jazz one, I was using the neck pickup, which is much thicker. And then the last one I was just playing right in the middle. And I didn't have to do that. We don't have to change those things, but those little things can help. But you don't need the right kind of guitar or amp to do these things, so don't worry about that. It's really much more about you and what you do, your fingers, than it is about anything with equipment. But with that said, I did want to bring out the sound of this by using a delay pedal. We don't need it. And also a volume pedal, which you also don't need. You could also use your, I'm not that good at this, but you know, you could use your volume knob. You know, if you like that kind of sound, you know, check out Jeff Beck. He's like probably the best I've ever heard. Using the volume knob, his pinky's just practically on it all the time. So good at that. But those two things, the delay and the volume knob, do help bring out the atmospheric sound. But it's really about how I'm doing it with the rhythm, the timing, and the note choice. And the first thing is to look at, I'm playing 2 notes at a time. So I'm swelling in. And then leaving a lot of space. So swelling in 2 notes at a time, although you don't have to, you could just play single notes. Swelling in, and that's going to really give you that sound of just like it's coming from somewhere else. It's like a wave crashing that you hear come from far away, coming in, crashing, and adding a little delay can help again, but you don't need that, and leaving some space between it. So just not, you know, the opposite of the jazz where I was playing a lot of notes. This, we're just hanging back. So hopefully that inspired you to try out, you know, the same thing, the same scale or the same song in different ways, and try out different ways yourself. And if you've got your guitar with you right now, try out this backing track right here. About halfway through is exactly what you were hearing. You can try it out yourself. I got the scale charts right along there for you to follow along with. And if you don't have your guitar but you want to check out something else, check out this video here, because YouTube thinks you're gonna like it.